What is up, fellow sickos? I am Dan Favale coming at you with a quasi-emergency podcast because it's like a good 12 hours after the trade happened. But we're here. I wasn't planning on podcasting today.
Dan, sorry. I realized one thing. I don't know if you could fix this after the fact, but Wolves is misspelled in that little bottom third.
That's fine. We'll fix it. We're live too, so I will fix it. I will fix it in the moment.
My bad. All right, cool.
We are here. We're gathered around the HardwoodKnocks campfire today to talk about LaMelo Ball getting traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Came together very quickly. It seems like we've got some diverging opinions within this space right now between me and Mr. Toporek. But he was nice enough to jump back on with me. We're going to talk some LaMelo Ball. We're also going to get into some Kawhi Leonard rumors floating around out there. Maybe we get something happening live at this point. I won't put anything past the offseason. That being said, though, Mr. Toporek, how the heck are you since we last spoke like 24 hours ago?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me back on. Always good to join. Can I begin this episode with a dramatic reading?
Please.
Okay. I want to set the scene. We'll go behind the scenes at how the sausage gets made at Bleacher Report, which is mostly just you sliding into my DMs, throwing fake trades at me, and I love it. So you, after the second round of the draft ends last night, at the very end, Shams comes out and is like, oh, by the way, LaMelo Ball might get traded. So you had to do LaMelo Ball trade packages, which I did not know. But at roughly 11:30 last night, you DM me and say, okay, hear me out. Jaylen Brown for LaMelo and Brandon Miller. And I'm immediately like, okay, we're doing some fake trades. Cool. I say, oh, God, I'm here for it because LaMelo is poison. Anything to sabotage the Celtics. As a Sixers person, I deeply dislike them, as I think longtime listeners of the NBA podcast would know. We'll skip down a little bit. You pitched me another offer, and you're asking if this one is also, do we have to include any draft picks in this one? Alperen Şengün and Reed Shepherd for LaMelo. I said...
Oh, well, hold on.
Yep.
Look at this. Celtics fan in the chat.
Oh, boy.
Andrew, I would have been very happy with LaMelo and Miller.
Oh, okay.
I'm so vindicated right now.
There you go. I was trying to help the Celtics. I love the Celtics. I say absolutely. If anything, the Rockets probably say no without a pick or something else. Your reply, you are way too low on LaMelo. LMAO. And then I got to slide into your DMs at 9:40 this morning after I dropped my son off at school and said, who is too high on LaMelo now, fucko?
And I, like a coward, didn't respond to you for like 5 hours.
Yeah, then you're like, hey, you want to come on a podcast? So yes, I deeply wanted to come on this podcast to laugh in your face that, in fact, I was not too high on LaMelo Ball. But yes, I'm excited to talk about whatever just happened today in the NBA.
Here's the thing. You could still be too low on LaMelo Ball.
That's true. I probably
you and Jeff Peterson could both just be too low on LaMelo Ball.
That is a very fair point.
My whole thing. Well, let's go. What we should do is go through the trade details.
Yes.
Shout out to your editing shining through, by the way, and catching my misspelling on Wolves there. Appreciate that. So the trade details are Minnesota gave up Naz Reid and a pile of dog shit for Minnesota's getting LaMelo Ball and Josh Green in exchange for Naz Reid, a 2023 unprotected first-round pick, and then 3 first-round swaps in 28, 29, 2030. 2 of those swaps have already been swapped, and the one that hasn't been swapped is 2028, which is presumably the less interesting one. They will also be sending second-round picks to Charlotte in 2029, 2032, and 2033. I've got way too many thoughts on the Hornets. Oh, the Hornets got a bit of a haul. Andrew in the chat. Nope, you've disenfranchised yourself from me. I did want to start with this from the Wolves' perspective, though, and I really wanted to get your thoughts on that. They've been linked to how many big names over the past, basically since they traded Karl-Anthony Towns, it feels like, and they finally bag one. Where are you at with this? How do you feel, especially given your thoughts on LaMelo Ball in general? How do you feel about this trade?
Yeah, I mean, for what they gave up, the value is completely fine. I mean, I love Naz Reid. I know Minnesota fans love Naz Reid, and we'll get into kind of the concerns about this trade in a minute. But like, just objectively, Naz Reid, 1 first-round pick, 1 actual swap, 2 fake swaps, 3 seconds. That's
2 fake swaps. That, by the way, thank you for calling that out. Just like they're just. Swaps are so unlikely to convey a lot of the time anyway, and this one is just you get the least favorable of these 3 teams. And go,
yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, if you get it, great. Maybe you move up a couple spots, but it's not like you're not swapping into the number 1 pick with
I would say there's maybe if they weren't swaps of swaps, there might be more upside in the current lottery format because let's say you finish with the same record, there could be a bigger chasm in where you're drafting now.
Of course. Yeah, and I would imagine that was part of the rationale. There's, you want, like, with Minnesota being in this insanely deep Western Conference, things can go wrong. Even if they end up in the play-in, they could still be in the lottery. So, like, there is rationale for doing it, and 2 of the swaps are in this 3-year window where this lottery system will exist. But I mean, 2 of them are also very unlikely to provide anything of real value. So, like, from just a pure trade value perspective, totally fine with the deal. And honestly, like, I see the upside here. I see the vision here. Ant is an incredible scorer, is a good playmaker, not great, especially with Dante DiVincenzo having torn his Achilles, probably going to miss all of next season, or at least most of it. They needed someone else in that backcourt. I know they just re-signed Ayo Dosunmu, but he's much more of a combo guard. You don't want him initiating the offense either. So having another star in LaMelo, offensively, him and Ant should fit like a glove. And even LaMelo with Rudy Gobert. I mean, LaMelo, I think, is by far the best passer that Gobert has ever played with in the NBA. I know John Krasinski of The Athletic pointed out, like, that is the hope on the Timberwolves end, is that LaMelo is just going to elevate the rest of this team with his passing, which I think is fair. I tend to, especially at this time of year, we're recording this, late June, so free agency hasn't technically begun yet.
Yeah, the offseason hasn't really technically reached a fever pitch, right?
So theory. I usually don't want to weigh in on rosters right now and like overall vision, because so much can change within the next week or the next couple weeks. Like, so many people are rushing to judgment about the Miami Heat with Giannis. It's like, can we see how they fill out their roster before we declare that their ceiling is the 6th seed in the East? Like, I don't know what they're going to look like in a month. And I have the same feeling about Minnesota right now, because with Julius Randle and Naz Reid out, all of a sudden their front court is pretty thin behind Gobert and Jaden McDaniels. I know they have Behringer, who they drafted last year, but they really don't have much behind those 3 guys. So that's what I'm at least nervous about or curious about if I'm a Timberwolves fan, because they're also now hard capped at the second apron since they aggregated contracts to get LaMelo. They're already pretty close to the first apron, at least close enough that they're not going to have access to either the non-taxpayer mid-level or the biannual. So realistically, probably only a 6.1 million taxpayer MLE plus minimums. That's not getting you, at least probably not getting you, like, marquee free agent. Like, I don't know that, John Collins is signing for a 6.1 million taxpayer MLE. Maybe he does, and maybe guys want to play with LaMelo and Ant. Maybe they end up getting a truly productive player with that amount of money. But until I see how they spend it, I think that is the big concern for me, especially knowing that they're in the West. I mean, it seems like a lot of other West teams sized up this offseason, especially during the draft. We saw, OKC take Mara at number 12. We saw the Spurs spend 2 first-round picks on fellow bigs to pair with Wemby. And
at some point, there's over-indexing. I think the Spurs might have reached it. Trading up to draft another center was certainly a choice.
Well, the guy at number 20 is probably going to miss most of it, or he said he's still dealing with knee issues and is going to miss part of the season. So I can understand it. But, even Denver got your boy, right? Brazil?
Trayvon Brazil. I thought the Spurs got him for a second. I said, well, how many bigs are going to be on this roster? And that's why he got sent to Denver. I remember being excited when Denver got DeRon Holmes, too. And but we know how that worked out.
Sure, but that just another big to pair with, or either forward or big to pair with Jokic. Houston still has Şengün, Capella, Steven Adams. I mean, like all of these West title hopefuls have not just one or two good big. I mean, they are deep in their front court, and now Minnesota is zigging when the rest of the West is zagging. So I don't know, that would be what I would be curious to get your perspective on in particular. Like, what do you think the Timberwolves have up their sleeves next to address the imbalance in their current roster?
One, I kind of had wondered if they could be like, did Memphis secretly acquire Isaiah Stewart so they could send him for the Timberwolves? Maybe they really like Terrence Shannon Jr. And you could do Terrence Shannon Jr. and Josh Green. Just because Beef Stew, by the way, did you pay attention to that? I promise we'll get back to the Timberwolves. Did you pay attention to that transaction at all?
Yes. That was the same 3 second-round picks that they sent to move. So they effectively moved down 4 slots in the lottery and got Beef Stew for it.
By Isaiah Stewart for it. That's nutso to me. Yes, I agree with everything you said. There's a risk here, even though I like the deal more for Minnesota. There's clearly a risk here. I'm very intrigued to see what more of Jaden McDaniels at the 4 looks like. This past season, the Wolves played just 32 possessions with him at the 4 and Rudy and Anthony Edwards on the court together. And I'm assuming now with LaMelo and Dosunmu, that's going to be more of a default look after not getting a ton of court time this year to begin with. I like that look. I think that Jaden McDaniels is more of an offensive weapon at the 4 for what he's not going to create for others, but has enough dribbling to where he could be a mismatch there. The depth to me is the bigger issue as to what is behind, because you could, with Rudy Gobert as the backstop, Jaden McDaniels, Aya Dosunmu, and even Anthony Edwards, and then LaMelo got a little bit better defensively. He's always had good size, can be way too stiff and disengaged for sure. Just behind them, it's right. Terrence Shannon Jr. needs to be healthy and really good. Berenger needs to be ready effectively at this point. I guess you could point to the idea that, well, you could get a veteran big for the minimum. And so that might be easier to fill. But the 4 spot gap that they now need to plug with no Randall, no Naz Reid, and I'm assuming another trade. There was reporting that said they prefer not to trade Dante DiVincenzo while he's injured, and his bird rights could come in handy for them next summer for sure. They might, you mentioned this, there's probably some finagling they need to do to use the full mini MLE. This is one of the consummate situations that you referenced where it's, well, what does that, like, can they get, if you were able to sign, I doubt he's going to fall in the mini MLE, but like Dean Wade for the mini MLE, then yeah, you feel a lot better about this trade. I don't know if like Kenrich Williams' team option gets declined by OKC. Is that someone they could look at? He'd be a really good fit there. Their biggest issue to me, and Gobert was just 4th in Defensive Player of the Year voting, and he was 2nd on my own personal ballot. I know he's getting older, but he's still that system unto himself type guy. My bigger concern would actually be, well, what does it look like when he's off the court? Because the splits already weren't good. They'll always figure out a way to generate offense and provide enough defense with Gobert, and then they're always just going to have good offense on the floor. I don't know how you get to a point. Berenger needs to pop. You're not going to fill that with a minimum big, or if you sign a 4 or a combo forward with the mini MLE. So that's a real concern. That being said, my biggest concern for the Wolves was, how do they get to a point where the offense can hum and defenses don't feel like they can throw 2 and 3 bodies at Anthony Edwards without any recourse? Julius Randle wasn't doing that. It wasn't doing that. Aya Dosunmu can do a little bit of that, but I don't think he's enough. You were minus 1 ball handler technically by trading Julius Randle. LaMelo Ball hits off the dribble threes. We've seen him. He can hit spot ups at a good enough clip. All of a sudden, the units without Anthony Edwards just get a lot, like, in theory, they get more stable. So I look at that and say, you probably it'd be nice if LaMelo got to the rim a little bit more, drew more fouls. I'm looking at this and thinking it was a gamble worth making when you're looking at the cost. The swaps, I just don't think are going to be valuable. In 2028, the Wolves are going to be better than the Hornets at this rate, and it's just really not going to matter. Then 2029 and 2030, those were already a sunk cost in my eyes. So I look at this as Naz Reid and the 2033 pick. Naz Reid is really good, but he also wasn't that player. He has a nice floor game for kind of a big, but he's not someone who's going to break down these set defenses at a level that's going to make them materially change their approach to guarding Anthony Edwards, you have no choice but to do that with LaMelo Ball, which finally, like, LaMelo Ball can now be on the ball while Anthony Edwards gets to play more off it and get into some of like the slashing stuff that we always wanted to see from him. And if you still want to have the ball in his hands in crunch time, one, I think that's great because LaMelo is not as physical and you've never looked at LaMelo and been, all right, that guy, he is the crunch time weapon.
Right.
But you also LaMelo shot 35% on threes off passes from Brandon Miller last year. You probably want that number to tick up. Well, you definitely want that number to tick up, excuse me. But he also only shot 33% on threes off passes from Knipple. He shot 46% on threes off passes from Miles Bridges. This is not someone who's completely foreign. Like the Hornets funneled more of the offense to Brandon Miller last year. And LaMelo ended up being a key cog in a rotation, the key cog in a rotation that was top 5 in offense and defense after Thanksgiving. So I think this is a worthwhile gamble to make, maybe not a sure thing. And I do wonder, I'm not sure how big of a part of Naz Reid was in this. I think it's probably more valuable to bring back a Mike Conley now, just maybe as like a pseudo coach. But having Gobert and Edwards and then LaMelo as just your 3 best players and primary voices in the locker room, that rubs me the wrong way. But like at the same time, I didn't feel any better with Randall there. And Ant's teammates have always seemed to follow. He seems to say the right things when it comes to basketball, and then everything else is just okay. So maybe they don't even need that. But is he someone who could rein it? Basically, as LaMelo's peer, they're from the same draft. Is he someone who could rein in LaMelo if you think that that's something LaMelo needs? I don't know. I think it was a worthwhile gamble. I don't look at this and think, I think I would call it a steal. In my heart, I believe that this is a steal for them. But we also know these things don't come together immediately. So there could be some short-term pain. And are the Wolves willing to tough that out? And then there's also, the LaMelo health, the minute stuff. So there's a bunch of variables here. It's not without risk, but I think if I'm the Wolves, I would have made this deal.
Yeah, I mean, I think given the cost that they paid to get him, LaMelo is probably the best player that they could have gotten on not a fully negative value contract. Like, I'm sure the Sixers would have sent Joel Embiid for this price. I bet they would have sent Paul George for that price, but those are like subterranean contracts at this point. So, and maybe LaMelo's contract is factoring into this. Maybe, I know he's not technically eligible for an extension for another couple of years, or he's not going to get an extension for another couple of years.
He's eligible for a 2-year extension.
Sure. But he's still got 3 years left on his deal. So like he's not going to sign one for a minute. But to me, like, I'm guessing Charlotte just wanted to be out of the LaMelo Ball business. Like, do you sell him for this price? And that is telling me that you were just over it and you did not have any interest in signing him to that next deal. So, I think, again, like from a value perspective, the Wolves did well here. I'm just worried that this really kind of boxes them in. Now they have almost zero draft trade. I think actually they have zero tradable draft capital other than like a top 55 protected Grizzlies pick now, I believe. So if this, we've acknowledged the potential downside here. If any of those things come true, what does that mean for the Timberwolves moving forward? Do they look to pivot off of LaMelo just as quickly as they acquired him? Do they look, Gobert has got a $38 million player option next year. Like, what happens if he opts out and doesn't want to come back? McDaniels is signed for a while. I guess that would be the other card you could still technically play, is trade Jaden McDaniels for something. But, it just feels like the Wolves are getting, if this does not work out, this could just be like 2023 Bucks right now, right after they acquire Dame. Like, okay, in theory, this could have been a great fit, but if it's not, we have no more cards left to play here. And what does that mean for the superstar whom, NBA teams are already starting to wonder? John Krasinski had a column before this trade happened that said basically, this is, now that Giannis has moved, Ant is next up in the media cycle of when is he want out, which big market is he going to. I think this move will quiet that down for now. But if it doesn't work out, that speculation is going to pick right back up and probably be louder than ever.
Yes, but so that's part of this, though, isn't it? If that speculation already existed, you can't sit around and do nothing. And you just said they acquired probably the best player they could. Also, Kyle Tyke, while he was on the Dane Moore show, I was listening to that. They were reacting to this trade. Said that he's heard that Anthony Edwards is so excited he'd be ready to sign an extension right now. I think that was more of a gesture. He's not going to sign a 2-year extension.
Yeah.
That's if. It has to be all about keeping Anthony Edwards engaged and happy. And this at least shows him you're trying. I don't know if he's going to, maybe he'll eventually want out, but you were heading down. I don't think this accelerates that at all. I don't think they're in any worse of a position. They're in any more danger of that happening now than they were had they done nothing. Because the draft capital, yes, they have 0 draft capital left to trade. The draft capital they left to trade wasn't that much to begin with.
Right.
It's the 2033 pick. That's what it is. And if they stay out of the second apron long enough, that 2032 pick, it'll be unfrozen. So it's not in danger of moving to the first round. So maybe at that point, as these guys are getting older, is that something that you could use to draft someone who's helping you in a cost-controlled contract? I think it's kind of, after seeing the Julius Randle trade and thinking that they were kind of just straight dumping, the fact that as we're recording this, that they're like $5 million under the second apron or whatever it is as of right now. That also, it's not just you went out and got LaMelo. It's, well, we're showing you that we're going to spend. And I think that matters. And by the way, to emerge from this while keeping some of your younger guys that still have upside. So we're talking Terrence Shannon Jr., who I think a lot of people had as a breakout candidate before he was dealing with all that ankle stuff this year. Johan Berenger. I remember Wolves fans, I liked him from what I saw in Summer League last year, but Wolves fans, I can't remember what the deal was that I pitched. I think it might have been like Berenger going out in a Kawhi trade, and they reacted by saying like, no, like Berenger's untouchable. And so I would have questions about that, but if that's how invested the Wolves are in Berenger, that they felt, I don't think you make this move, by the way, if you don't want him in the rotation next season, just because Nas is more of a 4, but he was also your best backup 5.
You almost have to have him in the rotation, unless, I mean, you're just going to have such limited resources to add to the roster at this point. And I would imagine maybe they use the mini MLE on like forward/center. I mean, the one guy who stands out to me, I don't know if they can make this work financially, but already with LaMelo's health stuff, I don't know if you necessarily want to add another guy who you can't necessarily count on from a health perspective. But I could see Kristaps working fairly well here.
Oh, what would that? You think he could fall into like mini MLE?
Nah, that's what I don't. I would be surprised, and I guess maybe you can send Josh Green to,
because Josh Green's at what, 14.7 next year,
something like that. Yeah.
14.6, a little bit under 14.7. I mean, would you do as Miami Josh Green for Bobby Portis straight up? Does that help the Wolves? You're really over-indexing on offense there.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what purpose Josh Green serves in a rotation with LaMelo, Ant, Dosunmu, Terrence Shannon, who I think he deserves a bigger role based on what he showed, especially toward the end of last season. They just drafted Isaiah Evans too. Like, they're pretty good in the backcourt. The backcourt is the one place I don't have any concerns about the Timberwolves right now. So yeah, I think just like the roster balance in general feels much more off now than it did a week ago for them. I'm not saying that like Julius Randle, I have no issues with them moving Julius Randle, especially given this context, but losing Randle and Reed, both of whom played pretty key roles defensively for you against Wemby in particular. This is the incomplete picture that I want. I wish we knew how are they addressing this, but with the resources that they have, which are not many.
Not many.
Yeah, like I don't, you're not getting Rui Hachimura for $6 million.
No.
Maybe Harrison Barnes, but I don't know why he's leaving San Antonio.
Well, the San Antonio want Harrison Barnes back would be the...
That's a fair point. But even still, I mean, that's not solving anything substantial for you. John Collins, I don't think you're getting for $6 million.
That was a name I had circled. I wondered if you... I think that's too little for him. I agree with you.
Yeah, like Kelly Olynyk, Maxi Kleba, Gershon Yabusele. Like that's the range I think we're talking about for 6. I guess Larry Nance Jr. could be an interesting name.
Well, can he still play?
Yeah, that's a fair question. Maybe that's more of a minimum than Marvin Bagley.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, we're presumably trying to get someone in there who will provide some semblance of defense, right? Or rebounding, something along those lines.
I'm just going down the list of free agent power forwards on Spot Track, and it is bleak. After
I know he's supposed to get a statue in OKC, but just given their tax situation, do you think Kenrich Williams is still going to be in Oklahoma City next season?
I don't think it's $7 million he will be. I think. Do
you think it's more likely he would leave, or that they just decline his team option and he signs for the minimum?
Yeah, I would imagine he just signs for the minimum.
Wow.
Right?
Could they get? Does New Orleans have another small salary to make? Like, could they get Sadiq Bey using Josh Green, or is that just they have nothing to attach?
Right. That's the problem. Yeah, you have to attach.
You're also downgrading defensively. I mean, Green can't defend fours, but Sadiq Bey is in great shakes defensively.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a tough spot. I saw someone in the chat ask, why didn't they ask for Grant Williams? And I'm assuming because the Hornets wanted him, because otherwise that would have been the preferable salary to take back. Totally. Which I do find interesting, because I guess Josh Green, I think, has always been overrated, but in theory is like they don't have the guy that's going to provide like some of the defensive reps he could soak up. I know they have Sion James there, but it's not like they have a ton of capable perimeter defensive bodies.
Yeah. I'm trying to. No, I mean, I guess Josh Green and Grant Williams are like really close salary. I know Yossi Goslin of Third Apron broke down the financials of this trade and like kind of explained how they're going to be structured as 2 separate deals, so the Hornets can create this massive $40.78 million trade exception. So I was trying to see if Josh Green or Grant Williams, because I think they're going to structure it as Josh Green for Naz Reid with the like trade buffer basically. Yeah. And I mean, actually, maybe that might be it. That Grant Williams is earning like $400,000 less. So I don't know.
The Hornets seem pretty bent on creating the largest trade exception in NBA history.
For sure. And I mean, they always could have just attached another small salary if they really needed to. But yeah, I wonder if that is part of why they included Green instead of Grant Williams.
It's going to be fascinating to see how they fill out the Vikings. Wild Wolf said if Denny Avdi is available, that would be nice. Are you trading that would be nice. I'm not even being pejorative here. You would need to trade Jaden McDaniels to make that happen. Like, you're not.
Do they even do it for Jaden McDaniels?
No, I don't think they would. But
yeah, like you need to repeal the 7-year rule. If you can trade like draft picks 15 years out, maybe you can get Denny. But yeah,
if they could get Kristaps, that would be like, maybe would there be something, because you can't give Golden State. It's like, can Golden State even? Oh, they can't. They need to stay under the first apron. Then if even Golden State said, we'll sign and trade you for what Josh Green is making dollar for dollar, but then that hard caps Minnesota at the first apron, which they're like $7 million over as of now.
Right.
I'm scrolling through another list of names. You're not going to get. I mean, you probably could get Caleb Martin from Dallas if you wanted him. I just don't know why you would.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, like Dorian Finney-Smith, maybe. But again, all of the trade.
You have to hope he has something left in the tank, right?
And all of the trade candidates is, what else are you attaching? Like, why? You have to.
Well, I mean, if I'm Houston, I don't know. I don't think you need to attach anything to get Dorian Finney-Smith at this point. That would be my guess. Maybe I'm wrong.
Just Dorian Finney-Smith for Josh Green straight up.
Does New Orleans do Josh Green for Sadiq Bey and Jordan Hawkins?
I don't think. I mean, Sadiq Bey is good.
Yeah, you're not
I don't
wrong.
think so.
Man, it's slim pickings. I mean, but you do I'm trying to. Is there like anyone that's on even if it's a cheaper contract that just goes out for 1 or 2 years, like longer? That's where Josh Green's value would be, because he's at expiring salary. Or I don't know what the max the Wolves could get to if they like, they could attach Jalen Clark and get a little bit higher in the money department. But without moving DiVincenzo, it just gets really tough.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Jared.
Like, would Indy give you? You could get to Obi Toppin with Indy.
Do they do that for Josh Green? Like, I think you would.
They would have to want to get out of the Obi Toppin contract, which
right. Jonathan Isaac.
I mean, from what I saw of Jonathan Isaac this season, you might be more athletic. Than
right.
Does Terrence Shannon? I don't know if this would be. Does Terrence Shannon Jr. see enough of a sweetener to get you Herb Jones with that extension?
No way.
Coming in. Yeah,
they want multiple firsts, right?
Well, I mean, they're not getting it.
Sure,
but yeah, that's too little.
I mean,
you could probably get Nikola Jovic.
I'm sure
you get an asset if you did a small salary plus Josh Green for Nikola Jovic.
You probably could. Derek Jones Jr. if the Clippers trade Kawhi and just begin a teardown.
That's a good one. And you could even take back could you get Chris Dunn and Derek Jones Jr. somehow? I don't know why the Clippers are doing you that much of a solid for Josh Green and small salary X, but
right. Or Bilal Coulibaly if he is getting pushed out with.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, they're crowded. Oh, I mean, this guy's super cheap, and I'll name him for every team. Justin Champagnie.
Sure. Oh man, if you could get Coulibaly and Champagnie, I mean,
do the Wizards have any money they don't want aside from Trae Young?
Anthony Davis.
Right. Oh man.
I can't think off the top of my head who would. I don't think so. I mean, like D'Lo, but he's only there for one season.
Yeah, no. The Wizards books, they made them a mess. Regulator in the chat says Jared Vanderbilt, maybe.
Yeah,
that's it. You can't play him with. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because he has, what does he have, 2 years left on his deal or just one after this?
I think just a player option in 27-28.
Yeah, so I mean, he's picking that up. So yeah, I mean, maybe the Lakers think about that.
Yeah, they probably would.
Yeah, I wonder if you could, like Josh Green and the money's not going to work, but like you could probably also get DeAndre Ayton from them if he picked up a player option if you wanted more of a seasoned. But I know that I'm asking for DeAndre Ayton on the Wolves. We're just going to throw all the bad vibes. Imagine having DeAndre Ayton, Rudy Gobert, and LaMelo Ball in the same locker room. My God.
Oh my God. Just bring Dwight Howard out of retirement.
Could you get, I don't know. Yeah, you could probably, if you could get to like the 18.4 million, so it'd be Josh Green plus whatever, Jared Vanderbilt and Jake LaRavia? So you're going to take on that extra year of Vanderbilt. LaRavia's expiring.
Mm-hmm. I guess what's the extra that you're like? Minnesota doesn't have even
has
small
Jalen Clark at $3 million and Julian Phillips at 2.4. So it'd be tight, but you could get there.
Yeah. Well, maybe Spot Track is wrong. Spot Track has Jalen Clark as a restricted free agent right now, but that could be wrong.
Oh, I missed that. Oh, you know what? I haven't penciled in as a team option, so you are correct. Did you sign and trade Jalen Clark? One of those fake sign and trade things. That's fine.
I mean, the other issue, even like going back to the Vando example, if it's just Josh Green for Vando straight up, that's more of a salary coming in for the Lakers and they're sending out. That hard caps them at the first apron. And I don't know that they want to hard cap themselves at the first apron for Josh Green when you've got LeBron and Rui to still figure out. So
that's why it might behoove them to expand the deal so that if you could send a small salary elsewhere. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I think any of these where the other team is hard capping itself in a 1-for-1 trade, I think it would have to turn into a 3 or 4 team deal. But honestly, I want this trade to continue expanding between now and July 6th. And I want to see how many teams we can squeeze in here. The LaMelo, Josh Green. I mean, because that looped into the Brooklyn.
Yeah.
The Chicago, Brooklyn, Minnesota trade already. So it's already a 4-team deal. But how many teams can we add to it in the next 2 weeks?
the Bones Highland sign and trade to New Orleans in some complex 17-team construction is going to hit like crack. Regulator says Nuggets would give you Zeke Naji in a second.
There you go.
Draft equity take on Zeke Naji. There you go.
There you go. Yeah, free Zeke Naji.
Do you have any? Where would you last? Do you have anything else on the Wolves that we haven't talked about? Because my final question would be: where, as of right now, you need to see the offseason, but like where you're not ahead of San Antonio or OKC.
Right.
Have you gotten like ahead of Denver at all in your eye? Like even if you're just looking floor to like not at the floor but at the ceiling.
Yeah. I don't think they're ahead of Denver. I think Denver had a weird year, but I mean the health was a big factor for them.
Do you know why I'm saying they're ahead of Denver? You're right. They're not. But in my mind, I'm just waiting for the Denver salary dump to come through.
Sure.
That's what it is.
And that's a valid concern for Denver. Or if they lose Peyton Watson, if they don't salary dump someone. So, yeah, I mean, Denver, either way, Denver is going to get worse this offseason, and Minnesota got substantially better. Like, I put them in the tier with Denver, Houston. I'm trying to think who else would even belong in there right now. Lakers are just too much of a question mark. Clippers, I know we're going to get to. They're too much of a question mark right now.
Josh. Oh, man, Chicago has so many guards. Okay, Josh Green for Jalen Smith might make some sense.
Jalen Smith was one that caught my eye as well. But, yeah, I mean, again, you're going to have to incentivize the other team to take this on, and I just don't know what the incentive is.
Would you do Josh Green and Terrence Shannon Jr. for beef stew?
I mean, I think you almost. I personally, I would not, because I'm pretty high on Terrence Shannon, and
so am I. But I'm also kind of wondering. Stu could, in theory, you probably don't want to do this a ton, but you could maybe steal some minutes with him and Gobert to get, because he can give you minutes at the 4 in addition to the 5.
That's not a ton of shooting.
I mean,
but yes, I mean, you got LaMelo and Jaden McDaniels or Io, so you're fine. Yeah, I mean, this could kind of force their hands, and they might have to like take their medicine to balance out their roster a little better. And I'm also ashamed of myself, and I know you would be too, that we did not put the Utah Jazz in this tier already.
The Jazz I have ahead of the Thunder and the Spurs.
Okay, good. Yeah.
I just feel myself getting I'm going to predict way too many.
Oh, me too. I'm right there with you, man.
So you took Denver, Minnesota, or Houston, just as things stand today?
I think Houston, but
I'll take Minnesota there.
I think Minnesota can jump them, but right now, just with the imbalance, Houston's another one where kind of a weird year last year, like vibes wise, and obviously the KD burner scandal did not help.
It didn't?
Well, maybe. I don't know. Who knows what Gen Z's into these days? But I think as you said it well earlier, that it takes time when you add a big piece like LaMelo or like KD for the Rockets last year. It often takes a year for things to settle down, and then year 2 is when things get better. I guess we'll see if they re-sign Tari Eason, because if they lose him, that would be a big.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think they're deeper right now than Minnesota, assuming that Tari Eason comes back. I think they're deeper. I think they've got, between KD, Amen, Şengün, even your boy Reed Shepherd, like you could argue
he'll probably get traded next at this rate.
Yeah.
I've been defending Washington and Charlotte the past couple of years under their new front office regimes, and then both teams just go and set that goodwill on fire within a week of each other. Nice job, guys.
We'll get to Charlotte, but I don't know that Charlotte lit themselves on fire quite the same way Washington did.
Glasgow, how do you all feel about Wiseman, Patrick Williams, or Okoro on the Wolves?
Just get the whole 2020 draft class together.
Oh, that's what it was. We could easily get to assemble the top 20 draft picks.
They're infinity stones.
Do you have anything else? Are you ready to talk about the Hornets?
Let's do the Hornets.
Okay, here's my thing. I'm interested to hear your defense. I purposely did not listen. I know you went on the NBA podcast. I did not listen to it because I don't necessarily. I see where you're going with it already, but I didn't want to color what I was going to say entirely in response to that. I understand when you look at the baggage that comes with LaMelo on the basketball court, why you would want to get out of the LaMelo Ball business. The ankle stuff we mentioned, I think it was off air at the top of this. You felt that you needed, when he was coming back from injury, to keep his minutes down. You had him come off the bench. He was benched, as you noted, during certain late games at the beginning of the year. He only played above 35 minutes 5 times last year. And it feels like if you continue to get past that level consistently, maybe you are playing with fire a little bit. I still view, and I a lot of the takes I've seen is that this was it was a difficult trade to make. Therefore, Charlotte was brave to do it. Just not the word brave, but this is a job. This is a trade that could get Jeff Peterson fired in theory.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I actually think that this is a coward's trade because the risk would have been betting on what you saw. Okay, if you don't think he's ever going to play, if it comes out that he's only going to play in 49 games a year moving forward, then yes, this take is going to age like milk. The risk would then be, if that's your belief, we want this offensive superstar who has carried sing shitty lineups basically until this year to offensive respectability. You go through and you look at what the Hornets were when LaMelo was healthy and on the court offensively over the years. It's consistently around league average or better. And I know that sounds like it's very little praise, but if you go through, so B-Ball Index has the stat, the catch-all, not the end-all be-all, but the catch-all of LeBron, your teammate LeBron.
Sure.
This was the first year that since 2022, LaMelo's teammates rated above the 33rd percentile of offensive talent.
The first year of his career?
The first year since 2022. There was the year in 2022 his teammates were slightly above average. This year his teammates ranked in the 72nd percentile. Last year, the 3rd percentile. The year before that, the 8th percentile. And you go through it and you look at teammate shooting, teammate offensive creation, and it's a lot of the same stuff. So you go, and if you see him if you can carry a league average offense with that type of talent around you while battling injuries, sign me up to begin with. The other thing is, I did mention this already, is that you saw proof of concept for a lot of this year. Now, he's been pretty bad. What has he played in 4 playing games for his career? I think he's been bad in most of them. There's not a lot of physicality there. I think we've seen fits and spurts of, it looked like he improved his driving and got to the basket more, and then it sort of peters out. So there are real concerns there. If you were deciding, hey, by the way, I don't buy any of they're worried about his next contract. He's got 3 years left. He's eligible for a 2-year extension. This is not the time you need to make the decision about, are we afraid to pay him, to me.
Sure.
The reason, if you want to get out of the LaMelo Ball business, you do it because there's a can't miss offer on the table. This was not a can't miss offer. I love Naz Reid, but I don't know what your end game is with, Naz Reid and Moussa Diabate and Giannis Steinbach as your front court. Miles Bridges is here. Con Knipple. You have Brandon Miller. By the way, this trade is probably excellent news for Brandon Miller, who's extension eligible. I'm assuming they're just going to throw him the bag. I like Kobe White, 3 years, $74 million. His return is, of course, part of this as well. But none of these players that we named are the level of creator or passer that LaMelo is. And to not even have that player, I don't want to hear Christian Anderson's name. And again, I like Kobe White. I like Con Knipple. I like Brandon Miller. This was the transcendent offensive talent. After years of pain, if you're now going to take a step, I don't know the case that the Hornets are better this year because they don't have LaMelo Ball. He suffered a season-ending injury or something. And I guess that's a risk that needs to be part of the calculation, and perhaps I'm being too ignorant or against that. But when the return is 1 first-round pick, 2nd-round equity, and Naz Reid, I just find that uninspiring. It makes me question, well, what are you actually trying to accomplish here? And while I think that Con Knipple could maybe do a little bit more on the ball, the Hornets' offense was in the 4th percentile this year when Brandon Miller and Con Knipple played without LaMelo. This guy was still very much the engine of your offense. He was a key part of the rotation when you were top 5 in offense and defense for 60 plus games of the year, by the way. This is not, after the All-Star break, look what they did. Post-Thanksgiving is most of the season. I'm not against, I would be, let me clarify. I would be against the idea of saying, I want to get out of the LaMelo Ball business. But if you are going to make that decision, you need to get more than this. This is something where is he already dealing with an injury? I've seen some people speculate, which I don't want to recklessly speculate, that did something happen behind the scenes or they worried about his off-court stuff. The only thing I will say there is that if that's the reason they traded him, that's a weird level of virtue signaling from I don't know if it's something we don't know about, but you signed Miles Bridges to another contract. And even if you think he's redeemed himself behind the scenes, I don't know if he has. There's a cognitive dissonance there, which is something I've been saying way too much lately. So I'm looking at this just from the basketball, unless you're going to tell me something has happened behind the scenes that, as you had mentioned, it seems like Charles Lee might be finished with him. So maybe there was a real mental tug of war there. But the reporting was also that LaMelo wanted to stay in Charlotte. So you have this electric player who is wildly popular among the fan base and is wildly impactful on the offensive end. And you decided getting out. This is a trade you make if you are desperate to get out of the LaMelo Ball business. And I just don't think there was enough evidence to say this is desperation, because what did you gain immediately from? Immediately you gained Naz Reid. That pick isn't conveying for another 6 years. Who you're probably not even going to be the ones making it. So and Regulator says Bridges was signed by previous GM owner for what it's worth. Who's still on the team? Miles Bridges during this regime. So I just don't understand the logic here, unless, again, and I know LaMelo wasn't this regime's guy either. So are we to believe that they always wanted to move him and the offers were going to be less because of his injuries, and they finally got something that they thought they liked, or that wasn't utterly terrible or didn't amount to a straight salary dump, and so they decided, we're gonna move? I don't understand the logic. And by the way, when it's viewed against the backdrop of their draft, where it's we need some physical size in there, Giannis Steinbach seems like he's going to be really good, but he also doesn't give you the defense that I think you would need. And Naz Reid, that's never been, if you play him at center, play him at the 4, he's not some type of defensive anchor. This team is unfinished. And so I do think, to this point, I've liked basically everything the front office has done. So maybe there should be some benefit of the doubt here, but I struggle to see any semblance of a vision. I don't understand this trade for Charlotte at all, other than to say, we were done with LaMelo Ball, and I need a transparent reason. And it better not be, we're worried he's not going to play in enough games or be able to play enough minutes. There needs to be, and if there is, that needs to be accompanied by something or I don't know. They're not going to reveal the medicals, but I'm assuming the Wolves wouldn't make this trade if LaMelo's ankles were made of Jell-O. Is all I can say.
I mean, I think all of that is fair. When I saw the trade terms come through, my first reaction was, that's it. They were able to get him for the Raptors couldn't have outbid that. I think the idea of, why now, why for this package is a fair question to be asking. I'm very curious when they officially announce the deal and presumably hold a press conference. I'm sure Charlotte's front office will be forced to address that question. I'm curious to see what they say. I think the injuries had to have been at least part of it. I mean, I hear you in saying you don't need to worry about the extension now, but you do, in the sense of if you are not planning to extend this guy, if you've already made up in your mind, come 2029, this guy will not be on our roster one way or the other, you could look at it as the closer we get to that date, the less that we are going to get from him in a trade. And, you've already seen Trae Young go for just CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert. We see John Morant right now. A couple of years ago was one of the up and coming best point guards in the NBA. Memphis is struggling to give him away right now. So I wonder if Charlotte sees those two guys in particular. Again, a couple of years ago, Trae Young, after leads the Hawks to the 2021 Eastern Conference Finals. If you told anyone a couple years from now, he's gonna get traded for CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert, Hawks fans would have called you delusional. So, these values do change quickly. And I wonder if seeing Trey and Ja in particular, seeing how quickly their value plummeted, especially with LaMelo's injury history, the Hornets say, like, look, this guy played 72 games last year. This is the second most he's played since entering the NBA. We aren't sure that he's going to play 72 games again this upcoming season. And if he doesn't, then he's coming off an injury-ravaged year. He's 1 year closer to either free agency or needing this extension. His value very well could fall. So, yes, we are not getting the blockbuster, 5 first-round picks, blue-chip prospect that you might expect for a 25-year-old all-star point guard in his prime. But you are also, you have to consider the downside risk of keeping him as well.
Do you think what is the downside risk then? Because if you're, what opportunity, isn't it worth what you saw from him for much of this season and then still trying to look at the players around him are going to get better? Wouldn't it be more worth betting on getting the 90th to 100th percentile outcome rather than, and then if it doesn't work out, you could just let him come off he's 2 years away from being an expiring contract. So it's short-term pain. How much upside or opportunity cost were you punting on by not making this deal? Because we already went through the swaps. Those swaps are, if they're valuable, I'll be shocked. And so you're looking at 1 first-round pick, seconds. And again, I really like Naz Reid. He had a great season, but the Wolves kind of already established that they didn't trust him to be like their third option on the offensive end. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what I'm struggling with here is that if you wanted to get out of the LaMelo Ball business, maybe you picked the right time. But if this was the best his value was ever going to be, I would rather roll the dice on the next 2 years, him on the court. Maybe we catch lightning in a bottle, because I don't know. I just, if you're making the bet, I saw someone in the chat, which is fair. They're kind of betting against the long-term viability of the Wolves with Anthony Edwards. And I guess, sure, like with that 2033 first-round pick, definitely, I might wager that Jeff Peterson won't be the one making that pick or even necessarily moving that pick. So I find it fascinating. I find it morbidly fascinating because I don't support it. I've just yet to see, you made a very cogent argument, the health stuff for sure. I've just yet to see one that's forced me to rethink maybe I'm just this stubborn LaMelo apologist for no reason.
I mean, I don't think this trade makes the Hornets better today. I think they are deliberately taking a step back. Maybe this is a vote of confidence in what they saw out of Con Knippel and Brandon Miller last year. And maybe they want to kind of structure their team around those two guys in particular. And this is their way, basically force feeding them more touches by taking LaMelo out of the picture. Maybe they don't need this. I know you said, and it's a fair point, that LaMelo wasn't quite as heliocentric this past year as he was early in his career, but Kobe White is not going to be LaMelo in that regard, dominating touches. I think a lot more of the offense will flow through Knippel and Miller moving forward without LaMelo there. And the other thing is, this isn't freeing up a ton of financial flexibility for them because they've got, I guess we'll see how they structure the Kobe White contract. Wouldn't shock me if they actually have a descend instead of ascend.
But that'd probably be smart, right? With Miller and Knippel's extensions on the horizon. And Moussa Diabate is eventually going to be more expensive too.
Sure. I mean, so, you wipe off LaMelo, next year, LaMelo is getting $43.6 million, 27-28. Naz Reid's at $25 million. So, almost $18.6 million difference. Miles Bridges coming off the books. Josh Green's in the trade. Grant Williams is coming off the books. Pat Connaughton could come off the books next year. So 2027, they could have fairly significant cap space. I know you got to factor in Brandon Miller. He's going to be a restricted free agent.
But what is that? I'm sorry. Why do we have cap space anymore? What is this? Just, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I mean, part of it would be you've got $37 million in expiring contracts this year between Miles Bridges and Grant Williams. And if you are deliberately taking a step back, then, maybe you're more open to using those to take on, a big contract from a team that needs financial relief, and you can get additional assets.
Those assets or player might be as good as LaMelo Ball.
They've got what, like 12 first-round picks in the next 7 drafts. I mean, you got, I think, 18 seconds. I forget where I saw it. I think it was Yossi.
And what's tough about that too, and I think I did allude to this, is that Charlotte's front office, I thought, has done under Jeff Peterson and like Gabe Schnall being there. I think they've done fantastic work when looking at the way they've built up this basketball team or gone about their business. It has not been we're chasing even the 6th seed. Mm-hmm. It's been, no, we're building like for the future. And this could be construed as that, I guess, because you're moving the best player in the deal. But it's also at the point where, no, I joked about it. I don't actually think I would have been the Giannis team as them. But it felt like they had reached the point of, well, now you should be trying to get better. And this is very much, okay, we're not even hitting pause. We're hitting rewind on our competitive life cycle to me. Yeah. Unless I'm just, maybe they'll be as good with Kobe White, Conga Nipple, and Brandon Miller offensively last year, and they're just not giving up as much. I don't think so, but that's the only, I just don't, like, what is the world in which, like, how did this team even position itself to get a lot better in the near term? You're mentioning the cap space, but that's in 2027. I struggle to even, like, see that part of the argument of, well, like they have some other options moving. I guess it's, all right, we're looking at the summer of 2020. I thought next summer, in the summer of 2027, was going to be what you're talking about, not necessarily cap space, but, they need to accelerate because Brandon Miller is going to get paid. Like, and now things start to get real. And now, to me, they're going to reach that point anyway. They'll have more financial flexibility, but they won't have someone who's capable of being the best offensive player on a playoff team. With all due respect to, like, who has the best chance of being that for them next year? Is it Miller, Knipple, White?
Next year? I mean, Knipple is just so bad in the play. Like, you would say Knipple, and then it's hard to forget how overmatched he looked once the quote-unquote postseason began. I mean, probably next year, Kobe White. Long term, I think it's Knipple, but short term.
You think it's Knipple over Miller?
I think so. I mean, that shooting is no joke.
And he does stuff off the ball, too. I think I might do. Is it weird to trust? I don't know. No, I think I might go Miller. More of the mid-range tactician. I could see him getting to a point where he's drawing more fouls and getting to the basket more.
Sure, that's fair.
Oh man, Wiso says sign and trade Bridges for Ingram. I don't really. It doesn't need to be a sign and trade. Like, Ingram doesn't fit in. Ingram's not making 40 flat, right? Would he fit into that TP?
I think he's over, isn't he?
I thought it was because it was 3 years and 120. I don't think it was flat. I'll double check. No, it's not. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's 40. So yes, he would technically fit in.
Oh my God.
There we go, baby.
Oh, that might be my favorite comment on the entire thing.
RJ Barrett's only 29.6. We could have some of the exception left over.
What is Regulator saying? Although it's a small, Kobe White had a better plus minus than Melo with Con. I mean, we're talking about 74 possessions. I'm not gonna. Kevin says the Hornets are coming for the East. Yeah, maybe in like 2030 at this point.
Well, I do wonder if Knipple kind of reset their timeline in that regard, because they saw, what an incredible impact he had as a rookie. You've got him on this rookie scale deal for 3 more years. Yes, Brandon Miller is due to be paid next summer, but I mean, that's the only big contract you're going to have on your books. Like, White and Naz Reid are, those are medium sized, but those are, you combine those to make one max contract effectively. So, like, they have a lot of financial flexibility still. And I think we're seeing really over the last couple of years how much that stuff matters when, teams are being forced because of the second apron to give up good players for far less than they should. And I think teams that have the flexibility to absorb those, like, we can't fully anticipate who's going to be available a year from now, but I can tell you which teams to be watching. Like, Orlando is going to have to shed someone in the next year. I don't know who it's going to be.
Who do you want on that team more than you want LaMelo Ball?
Well, certainly not Paolo. Franz, I guess. I don't think he's the one they're going to shut. I'm guessing they're getting rid of Jalen Suggs. But
I mean, he would fit on this team for sure. Is that
he fits
I guess
in
what
the
you're
TPE.
saying? Did you have concerns about the Knipple Miller LaMelo dynamic long term?
I didn't think they were going to contend for a title with that group. I thought like they looked really good last season. I thought they could be, playing team, even maybe sneak into the playoffs this year. But, if that's the ceiling you're chasing, I honestly can respect that for the Hornets just because they've been so consistently bad. I mean, they haven't won a playoff series since they came back into the NBA. So like, these are baby steps that they need to be taking, but it seems like this front office is, deciding either to be aggressive in their pursuit of a championship, or as you said, they're trying to give themselves a longer runway and selling ownership on taking a step back so that they have that longer runway rather than if they took a step back with LaMelo next year, then you start getting nervous about job security, whether front office or head coach.
That's fair. I guess the TBD element of all this, like we said with the Wolves, is waiting to see how they fill out their roster. And then with Charlotte, it's kind of similar to what's going on in Detroit right now with their ultra fluid cap situation. We need to see what it turns into. I will say, if it was the idea of creating just a longer runway, there's probably puts a worse taste in my mouth now because of the lottery reform, where if you made this decision last summer, again, you're not getting as much, we've established, but then you would have gotten more value in theory out of going through a rebuilding year, so to speak, around Knipple and Brandon Miller. And I mean, having Kobe White there doesn't make it seem like and no one's going to try and bottom out with the new lottery rules. This is fascinating. The word I keep using is fascinating because I really don't understand it. Even if they think that Connor or Brandon Miller, I really don't understand it.
It's not like a conventional challenge trade, because that would be like you swap players that you don't want, and the Timberwolves obviously wanted Naz Reid, but it feels like a challenge trade with LaMelo in particular, where the Hornets are, and that would be the question I'm asking if I'm Minnesota tonight, is why were they willing to give him up at this price coming off the season he just had? Like, that would make me a little bit nervous.
Do you think maybe that Target Center might just have its own private entrance for LaMelo, and that's why they don't have to worry?
I actually, someone who used to work for the Timberwolves tells me the structure that the players park in, I believe, comes out right onto a sidewalk. So, yeah, it exits blindly onto a busy sidewalk.
Who do you think, and the question to everyone at large, not just you, who do you think took the bigger risk in this trade?
It's a good question. I think, man, yeah, my gut would say Minnesota, just because if it goes wrong for them, does this cost them Anthony Edwards? But I mean, to your point, if LaMelo pops there, a lot of fans in Charlotte are going to be like, we gave him up for one first-round pick, Naz Reid, and one swap, effectively. Like, that's,
I did a show shortly after it went down, and I said that it has I was probably it's not even in my feelings because I'm not a Hornets fan. I was just, sure. I'm still so left searching for answers. I was like, this has potentially one of the worst trades of all time from Charlotte's perspective. That's what I said.
Well, we've got a worst trades of the century at Bleacher Report. We'll save a slide in a couple of years.
I will write the entire thing if I could put the Hornets LaMelo trade rank it number in the top 10 right now.
That's a high bar to crack the top 10. This was a cross sport. This was not just NBA. So
okay, I mean, like, this is clearly worse than the Luka trade, right?
Obviously, for the Wolves.
Did you have anything else on this? Are you ready to talk some Kawhi?
Let's do Kawhi.
So this is Clippers fans. I'll release it singularly if they don't blow it up by the time that it goes out. But this will double as the Clippers offseason look ahead because the Kawhi trade rumors are kind of blowing that up anyway, which means I will run through their vitals very quickly, and I should throw them up on screen for the kids at home. There we go. So the Clippers, I have them. Their cap situation is very fluid. So I have them at $7 million over the cap, which gives them plenty of room. 28.5 below the tax, 37 plus below the first apron. That's my 14-player projection. That includes Wagler and every single option non-guarantee being picked up. It doesn't include free agent holds for Mathurin, Collins, or any of their second rounders. I also recognize that if they wanted to, they could just have a crap ton of cap space. Right now, I have them ticketed for the non-taxpayer mid-level exception. They're notable unrestricted free agents. John Collins, most notable. Bennedict Mathurin is a restricted free agent. Bradley Beal has a player option, $5.6 million. I'm assuming he's going to pick that up. They have team options on Bogdan Bogdanovic at $16 million, Brook Lopez at $9.2 million, Nicola Batum at $5.9 million, and Jordan Miller at $2.5 million, and Kobe Sanders at $2.2 million. If they decline those team options on Kobe Sanders and Jordan Miller, they would become restricted free agents. Notable extension candidates. The reason we're here, Mr. Toporek. Kawhi Leonard can sign for a max of 2 years, $126.5 million. Darius Garland's also extension eligible, 2 years, $110. No other notable extension candidates. Maybe Derek Jones Jr. can sign a 4-year extension as of July 9th. And their first-round pick overview, which I think will give Mr. Toporek some jollies. In 2027, they owe their pick to Oklahoma City. That's swap rights. They will end up getting the least favorable of Denver's top 5 protected pick, their own pick, or Oklahoma City's pick. In 2028, they owe an unprotected pick to the Philadelphia 76ers. And in 2029, swap rights with Philly, top 3 protection for Philly on that. And then this summer, I think they could trade up to 4 firsts, not including the actual Wagler pick. So least favorable picks in 27 and 29, and then outright picks in 2031, 2033. My question to you, Mr. Toporek, what is this dovetails with the Kawhi Leonard trade rumors? What is the Clippers' direction right now?
I feel like we have to start this entire section with, are we ever going to get a ruling on aspiration?
No.
But
it's like the investigation that never ends.
This is insane. If they allow, I mean, we are, a couple days away from free agency. Kawhi Leonard trade rumors are bubbling up. I don't know how any team in good conscience can trade for Kawhi Leonard unless the NBA has already sent signals behind the scenes that, whatever comes of this investigation, Kawhi will not be punished, will not be forced to miss games. Like, they could void his contract in theory if they find him that he was, a partner, a co-conspirator in this scheme. So that's my biggest question hanging over the Clippers right now is like, are we going to get a resolution to this before the start of free agency, before a Kawhi trade potentially happens, before they have to commit to an extension for him? Like, the uncertainty there, you bring up draft picks that they could have or could trade. Are we sure? Are we sure that they're going to have those draft picks? We don't know anything.
Well, could you, if you were the Clippers, even if you did, do you just trade those draft picks?
Yeah.
So they can't take them away.
And just trade Kawhi. You're going to void his contract. We don't.
You trade those draft, maybe you even trade the 2031 and 2033 picks so that the NBA, if they give them, it's the ones that you swapped and weren't going to be high upside anyway. Sure. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah. The whole thing is just beyond insane to me. I mean, shout out to Pablo Torre of Meadowlark Media for blowing the cover off of this, and the amount of work that he has done on this story throughout the year is, I mean, it literally won him a Pulitzer Prize, and it was a very well-deserved Pulitzer Prize. And I know Adam Silver during the finals was saying, it's time to wrap this up. We need some resolution here. So not only the Clippers, but the other 29 teams know kind of the circumstances they're operating under. But again, time is running out we're already seeing, I mean, LaMelo and Giannis and Julius Randle all got traded this week already. Trades are already flying.
The thing we didn't bring up, by the way, with the Hornet stuff, I find it so bizarre. I mentioned this to you off air, that we're at a point where these guards have no trade value but they're still going to get max contracts, apparently, when you look at Trae Young.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say Ja Morant probably not getting the max next time. But yeah, I mean, LaMelo, you're almost pot committed to it at this point.
Did you take from what Adam Silver said, or did you even see that Steve Ballmer, when you look at what I think is David Sandberg was the guy behind Aspiration, right? Steve Ballmer's and his, I guess, people wrote a letter against him while the NBA said, oh, he was very cooperative and gave us a ton of information, basically. Did that lead you to believe, oh, maybe he said or provided some documents or evidence that just really works against the Clippers? But then you come from Adam Silver's comments, and it just sort of seems as if I feel like they're waiting for the Pablo Torre Finds Out podcast to go a few months without publishing an update so that they can try and sweep this under the rug, because there's all these different installed. Yeah, what has it been, 10 parts?
I think 12 now. Like he released one fairly recently, in which, because now Joe Sandberg got sentenced to 14 years.
Oh, Joe Sandberg, sorry.
Yeah, 14 years in jail, and they had, I believe, someone, I don't remember what government agency he used to work for, but it was the government agency that was responsible for kind of bringing this, getting him, the court case ready. So yeah, I don't think Pablo's letting this story go. If the NBA wants to sweep it under the rug, best of luck to them. But I think my sense is that Pablo believes there was circumvention, and it seems like he is increasingly annoyed that the NBA is dragging their feet and is going to continue making it more and more embarrassing for the NBA until the NBA releases its investigation and releases the punishment. And at which point, if God forbid, if the Clippers get off scot-free, I would advise anyone who has not checked out the series yet, go check it out. Go in with an open mind. It is very hard when you listen to the totality of what Pablo has investigated to believe that the Clippers were completely innocent in all of this. And so that's what I'm wondering is A, does the NBA punish them at all? And B, if they do, what is the extent of it? Is Kawhi affected at all? Do they lose draft picks? Did their members of their front office get suspended for a period of time? What are the parameters that we're working under now that we're in this key off-season period?
I honestly don't know what's going to happen. The longer it goes on, I feel as if it's less likely anything seismic is going to come of it. At one point, I was bracing for the Clippers are going to lose 4 draft picks or something. Not 4 first-round picks. And now I'm thinking this is going to be the Jalen Brunson level of tampering of a second-round pick or something along those lines. And maybe that speaks to having no idea of which way it's going to go. Mm-hmm. Do you assign, so the Kawhi rumors basically being, the Pistons are interested, but he wouldn't sign an extension there if he got traded there. He is willing to sign an extension in Toronto or San Antonio. Mm-hmm. So I think the first question is, that just came to me because of what you were saying. If the Clippers are actually worried about this investigation, or if it's holding up what they're trying to do, is that spilling over into how they're handling the Kawhi situation? Or does it did seem like they were kind of angling for a fresher, let's call it, start in 2027 anyway. And so maybe the extension eligibility is what's spearheading this, all of a sudden, this chatter. Because the idea that he would sign an extension with any team but the Clippers leads you to believe, okay, are real talks happening here? Because that's what it sort of feels like.
Yeah, I mean, so Jake Fisher of the Stein Line was the one who broke word of this on Thursday. And, he did say the Clippers are, quote, undeniably determined to keep hold of Kawhi Leonard. So I think if they had their way, they would keep him. They would not trade him. He will sign an extension. He'll play the rest of his career in LA. But I think it's fair to wonder, what does that extension look like? Does he want a full max deal at his age, given his injury history? And, just kind of given the way that the NBA is trending, if you give him that deal, you've already got $100 million probably committed to him and Darius Garland in 2027. Whereas right now, You have Darius Garland under contract in 2027. You have Isaiah Jackson. You have, some of the rookies still have like team options. But
Wagler will be on the books, probably
right,
like 12 million or whatever.
But I mean, their books are, Bogdan Bogdanovic is coming off the books potentially if they don't decline the team option. Brook Lopez, Derek Jones Jr. isn't expiring. Nick Batum isn't expiring. Like they could have a completely clean slate. Now, would they want that with Giannis presumably off the board now? This tends to happen where it's, oh my God, Giannis and Jokic could be free agents in 2027. Everyone's going to, save $60 million of cap space. And then, all right, well, Giannis got traded and he's presumably going to sign the extension. He's not likely to be available. Jokic, right after a very disappointing end of the season, made it very clear. He's like, nah, I don't want to go anywhere. I'm good. I like Denver. So, I don't know. I haven't looked that far ahead as to like who is the key free agent in 2027 if it's not those two guys, but a lot will change in a year. I guess Stephen Curry could be a free agent in 2027 if you really want to sign at that point, age 39 Stephen Curry.
I'd do it.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
So him, Garland, and Wagler, I think that's the defense will be mint.
Paul George has a player option that he might decline coming back.
Well, I was going to ask, would the Sixers give back even the Clippers swap rights or one of those picks to swap Paul George for Kawhi Leonard?
Probably. I would think so.
Even if he wouldn't sign an extension? Because I was wondering what team I guess him back in San Antonio would be the better story, but him going back to Toronto would just be cooler.
Yeah. Yeah, either way. I mean, if like San Antonio obviously gives him a much better chance at winning a title immediately than Toronto does, but yes, just the rule of cool with also just a hilarious bit. I know Jake said he'd be open to an extension, so it's a little different, but like imagine if just every time he gets to the final year of his contract, Toronto's like, you know what? We'll do it. We'll do a 1-year rental. And just you can go wherever you want next year. Just play for us the 1 year and let's see if we could recreate this magic, baby.
Before moving on, is there a team out there that you think would be a good Kawhi destination that would consider moving for him, even if they have no guarantee it's more than a rental?
Portland, maybe, if it's just like Jeremy Grant and one of Shaden or Scoot.
Would Phoenix? They could probably make the money work, right? They're busy paying all their players to get back to 8th place, but
yeah. I mean, with Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, Grayson Allen, they could easily make the money work. Yeah, Phoenix would be interesting. It's hard to find like, Houston challenge trade Kawhi for Kevin Durant.
Oh wow. Who says no? The Clippers, right?
Yeah, probably, because I don't think Kevin Durant.
Or if you're worried about Kawhi leaving as Houston, you say, well, we have Kevin Durant for the extra year.
Sure.
Could the Lakers do it if LeBron is gone?
Just absorb him into cap space or
partial cap space? They could send out I don't know what they could send out picks to go along with some of the contracts they have on the books to help.
Sure.
But
the Lakers are just in such a weird spot this summer because it's like this is your best opportunity to retool around Luka because you can do like the little cap space trick right now with Reeves where he's gonna, earn $40 million, but he's on the books for $20 million right now. So like I don't think if your big splash is a guy in his mid-30s, that's yes, that's great for now, but does not give you a chance to meaningfully build around Luka. I have one though. I don't know if they have the ammunition or what ammunition they are attaching. Denver.
Oh, so that would be. I mean, you could get there, I think, with Christian Brown and Cam Johnson, but you don't have any draft equity to include.
Right. Yeah, that's the problem.
So you'd be looking at Aaron Gordon or Jamal Murray, which I don't think the Clippers, you're getting more teams involved because the Clippers have Wagler and Darius Garland on the books already.
Yeah, you'd probably have to do
if
both.
You could do the Christian Brown contract aging like milk is awful. If you could do what about a sign and trade of Peyton Watson
There you
with
go.
Cam Johnson and your 2033 swap for Kawhi Leonard.
I mean, I think the Clippers, I don't know where, like, what proximity to the apron they would be after that. They would have to be mindful of that because they would be hard capped to the first apron if they're acquiring
They can handle it.
Yeah,
I think they can handle it.
That's interesting. I don't think you hang up.
Denver probably says no unless they can find a team to take on Christian Brown because they're basically net salary neutral, maybe saving a little bit. Yeah. No, they're actually no. Kawhi makes more than Brown and Johnson together, so you need to send out another contract too to begin with. But
speaking of challenge trades, Jaylen Brown for Kawhi Leonard.
The Celtics say no to that, right? What is going on in Boston?
I don't know.
I've been checking my phone so much because I'm actually worried, we're wondering if Jaylen Brown's going to get traded while we're on the horn.
That's a fair concern. Can Minnesota? Can they just assemble all these dudes somehow?
Actually, Wiseau says two things in the chat that are interesting. So OKC, OKC.
Sure.
That would be what, though?
I mean, it'd have to be one of J-Dub or Chet, right?
I'm not. I mean, I know some people are lower on Chet, but maybe if the clip, like, what if it was Kawhi Leonard and all the picks for Chet Holmgren? That would be hysterical. We're just gonna keep giving the OKC Clippers draft.
You could actually get to the money with Caruso, Dort, and Isaiah Joe, or if you pick up the team option of Hartenstein.
Wait, Caruso, Dort, and Isaiah Joe get you to 50? Wow,
close enough. I mean, yeah, Caruso's at 19.6, Dort's at 17.7, Isaiah Joe's at 11.3.
What about Hartenstein, Dort, and Isaiah Joe?
Yeah, that gets you way over.
I just feel like you still kind of need out. Well, you have Case and Wallace. Maybe you don't need Alex Caruso. Wow. But that's like, we know the Thunder are trying to still cut money. They're $30 million into the second apron. So, Weiss also said, I bet the T-Wolves really wish they could trade Kawhi right now. He's like the missing piece. I had kind of wondered when I saw the LaMelo trade go down, I was thinking, well, this means Kawhi is not getting traded, right? Because this package, like if you would have folded it into the Randall deal, you could have made it work. There'd be other parts involved for Kawhi. But maybe that has more to do with LaMelo's under contract. So we're okay doing this now. And Kawhi, if he doesn't want to sign an extension or is an expiring deal, having no control over what he's going to do, you're not going to want to give up as much. You're not going to want to give up your 2033 pick. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely not.
Because Kawhi and Jaden McDaniels and Anthony Edwards would be insane win trio.
What about, again, I don't know how they're making the money work necessarily. It would be tricky, but Indiana with Nembhard, Toppin.
Wow. Zubats?
Send him right back. That would be pretty funny. Maybe, just a souped up version of what Detroit and Memphis did at the draft.
Do you know which team I would actually like? And you could build the deal out in a bunch of different ways. I just don't know which would be the best way for both sides. Kawhi to Orlando.
That were on my list too. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if I would not want to, if I'm the Clippers, I don't know that I want to do it for Paolo, but for Franz, absolutely.
If I'm the I might prefer to do. If I'm the Clippers, I want Paolo over Franz. I'm not gonna lie.
You have you and I have been.
Give me LaMelo, give me Paolo, give me all your. It's easier to make an analytical case for LaMelo Ball than it is for Paolo Banchero. That much I will give you.
Yes, for sure. But I will give you, Paolo had a couple games in the playoffs where he did look fantastic. Like the theory of Paolo, if he hits that ceiling all the time, he'll be phenomenal. And yes, you would absolutely want him over Franz. But then he also has these like 4 for 18 games that make you question why you watch basketball in the first place.
Knowing what you said about Gar, or do you have anything else on the Kawhi? Do you think Kawhi gets traded?
I didn't as of 48 hours ago. I mean, now seeing how quickly we went from, hey, LaMelo Ball might be traded to, hey, LaMelo Ball got traded. I think it took about 12 hours. I don't know. I mean, I'm guessing it only happens if the Clippers and he and the Clippers can't agree on what a contract extension might look like, but knowing the Clippers, that seems like a realistic possibility, considering what happened with Paul George a couple of years ago, where they correctly said, we don't want to pay you a 4-year max. And he said, that's great, I'm out of here. I think they have been proven wise that it was unwise to give him a 4-year max at that stage of his career. I think with Kawhi, yes, the ceiling is what it is, but his age, his injury history, I could understand them balking a little bit at
for sure
a full max contract extension. And I'm wondering, especially with the Knicks having just won a title with Jalen Brunson, given how much money that he bypassed to, he signed the 156 or whatever it is.
He saved them a Dante DiVincenzo per season. That's how I framed it. One Dante DiVincenzo per season.
And I wonder how I assumed that teams were going to start using that against other stars. And clearly that did not happen in Washington. But but I wonder if the Clippers are going to Kawhi and saying, like, look, man, this is the reality. If you want us to build a title contender around you in the twilight of your career, we can't max you, or it's going to be very difficult for us to build a title contender if we max you. But if you take X amount less, here are all the other doors that this could open.
What's a deal? Is it 2 for 100, which would be the same he's on now, or does it need to be more like 2 for 80?
What KD did, like 2 for 90, right?
Yeah.
I mean, probably in that range, right? Kawhi's turning 37.
Uncle correct? Dennis says no way.
You find another fake tree company.
Oh, we didn't even mention Brooklyn. Just like they could use their cap space, then do Julius Randle and Terrence Mann plus picks.
Why?
Why did they lottery reform, man? They're trying to get better.
God. No. That's the one I'm against. And I was also wrong. Kawhi's only 34. He's turning 35 in 4 days. Happy birthday, Kawhi. Hope you get a fake tree.
I guess Atlanta would be in on Kawhi if they're in on Jaylen Brown, or no, not really. Kawhi would be such like a pace disruptor for how they like to play, though.
Yeah, and I mean, Jaylen Brown is much more aligned with them age-wise, also an Atlanta native, so not that should factor into their decision at all, but just another reason to, I don't know if they're giving up significant assets for Kawhi. Like, it sounds crazy to say this, but like that is one of the tricky things. Oh, Detroit. Did we mention Detroit?
We did, as a team that he wouldn't sign an extension with. I would
sure.
What does it take then to get him there? And just we're gonna roll the dice. If it's Ron Holland, and you're making the money work, because they could have a ton of cap space, they could be over, they could do all these things. Let's just say Ron Holland is the core asset going out. Are you rolling the dice as Detroit?
Yeah, if that's all it counts, because you could probably loop in the Isaiah Stewart trade.
Yep,
we're gonna expand that, so that's $15 million. Duncan Robinson's at 16, that's 31. Ron Holland's at 9, that's 40. Add in Karis LeVert, you're there.
What if it's Ron Holland and a first?
I still think, they're.
I think I would too.
I like Ron Holland a lot. I think Ron Holland's gonna be really good, but
could you imagine Kawhi and Asar just on the same defense? I know Kawhi's not caps lock Kawhi anymore, but
right, you could start Cade, Kawhi, Asar, Jalen Duren.
Oh, we didn't mention. How we not mention this team? It's Jimmy Butler plus picks.
Ooh,
Golden State, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Sounds like they don't want to trade Jimmy, but
sure. Makes a ton of sense.
I think that should absolutely be under consideration for them.
What do you think? If they moved Kawhi, or even what you just said about guards, what does it mean for Darius Garland? I think I'm not worried about I don't know how deep into like the Keaton Wagler fit you are. I'm not worried about him and Wagler playing together. I think they'll be fine. Mm-hmm. But you made a lot of salient points about the way small guards are valued via trade. And then we also know they're still kind of getting paid. Like, where does Darius Garland fit in to the Clippers' vision? I think if they're trying to I like Darius Garland. I thought the Clippers, that was a home run trade for them. But now, if you're thinking about moving Kawhi or don't want to pay Kawhi, I'm just curious where Darius Garland fits into their vision.
Yeah, I am too. I think it's a fair question. When they made the trade, they did not know they were going to get the number 5 pick. They didn't know they were going to get a pick at all in this draft. And if they if they were going to get a pick, it was going to be one of the guards because it had to be between 5 and 9, right?
Right.
So yeah, or they could have taken Mero or whatever. But yeah, like they now knowing that they have Wagler, I would think that Garland, if they're willing to move Kawhi, I would guess they would be willing to move Garland because he's only got 2 years left on his deal too. Like this is the time to move him because you can move him next summer, but he's expiring, and then you run into the same problem where like is he trying to?
Would you have done as the Clippers? Would you have done the LaMelo package for Darius Garland?
Like the 1 first-round pick and
Naz Reid. I mean, Darius Garland's making a little bit more than LaMelo, so there's perhaps more other moving parts involved. But who has more trade value right now, Darius? Like I thought I would have told you LaMelo Ball with 100% confidence 24 hours ago. But as you pointed out in our DMs when you called me fucko, it might be a conversation now. I mean, Darius Garland got you James Harden, LaMelo Ball got you Naz Reid. I don't know what to make of that.
Well, I mean, he got you 36-year-old James Harden, and you had to attach a second-round pick to do it.
Fair.
Right. Yeah. Garland's got some injury stuff to worry about as well. Like I think he should still have value. I think like Minnesota, had they not gone for LaMelo, they probably would have taken.
I would love him in Memphis as opposed. I don't know what the defense looks like with him and Boozer, but instead of Ja, he would be a good fit in Memphis.
I mean, I have concerns that Milwaukee does not seem content with just taking their medicine for a couple of years. Like, are they?
They were linked to. Did you saw you saw them? They were interested in LaMelo. That
was red flag.
Yeah.
Like with the Mavericks, if they were willing to move off of Kyrie.
Well, they seem determined to surround Cooper Flag with as little spacing as possible. So
sure. Houston,
he would be excellent in Houston. Something like Reed. Well, what was my LaMelo package for them? Oh, Shangu. That's too much for Darius Garland. No, probably.
Could you do Van Vliet and like Tari Eason in a Simon trade?
Ooh. That would really juice their off. But then you have Reed Shepherd and Darius Garland on the same team.
Yeah.
Gets a little. Could they play together? I don't know.
Amon's just gonna swallow up everyone anyway. It's okay.
Would he be a Detroit guy? They're linked to Kawhi, but should Garland be a Detroit guy, or is that too much? You're about to pay Duren, Asar's extension eligible.
Yeah. I mean, I could. Well, I mean, I don't think Duren's getting as much as we all thought 3 months ago.
I mean, the Pistons just traded one of their other big men, so he might be okay.
That's true. Yeah. Who else? I mean, this is no, they're too expensive already. I was gonna say Utah because they seem like lukewarm on Keontae George as a point guard, but that
salary structure is not going to work there.
No way.
You think Washington wants to pair Garland and Trae Young? Davis or Darius Garland would be interesting.
They might. Toronto maybe.
He doesn't really fit what they do defensively, but LaMelo wouldn't either, and they were interested in him. So yeah, I mean, I'd like it.
Yeah.
What about San Antonio?
Just all of the guards.
Well, no Fox.
Oh,
so
Fox.
You're attaching stuff to Fox, or maybe the Clippers.
I mean, I would imagine a lot of Spurs fans are just ready to launch Fox into the sun right now. So I think anything.
Spurs fans, you come talk to me. I'll convince you to step off that ledge.
Yeah, that's interesting. I guess it depends on like how much you would have to attach.
And I know that would be because he has the 4-year deal starting now. Garland has 2.
Yeah, and the Clippers, you're still running into the same problem. Like you still have the same fit concerns with Fox that you will with Garland with Wagler.
Yeah, I think that backcourt would have a higher defensive ceiling together, though.
True.
Than the Garland Wagler one.
Yeah, Fox is a little bit bigger. Yeah.
We didn't mention Cleveland for Kawhi. Would you consider a Mobley for Kawhi? Like how?
Oh, wow. Probably not Mobley, right?
I wouldn't do it. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I don't know where Cleveland's at. I've seen Mobley for Jaylen Brown floated, which is in the vein of that. Yeah. That's the one other Jaylen Brown trade is ball. I wasn't a fan of the Giannis one, but for some reason the Mobley one, I'm like, I don't know, maybe I don't hate that.
Yeah. I mean, Mobley just didn't take the leap that we expected. And he's still so young that like it still easily could be coming. I'm not out on.
I wouldn't give him up for Kawhi. Yeah.
Yeah. I just the ages make me like you already traded Darius Garland for a guy 10 years older than him, and I understand why you did that. But
keep it going.
Like you're shortening your window that much, and like what message is that sending to Donovan Mitchell as you're trying to convince him to sign an extension?
Maybe maybe he's got a thing for older dudes just because he wanted James Harden for Darius Garland done, right? That was the pretense.
Yeah. I mean, like it would make them. It would probably increase their title chances next year, but drastically shorten their window.
Yeah, I wouldn't. That would be malpractice. You need to finish other than the second apron to be aggregating, but you could maybe do Jared Allen, and you've got a whole bunch of middle. So Max Strus's money is in there, so you could probably get there. That plus, who else is making some money there? There's
Schroeder.
Schroeder would be the preferable to Sam Merrill for sure.
Yeah. Well, they're just going to sign and trade Jared Allen for LeBron James, didn't you see?
That was so funny.
I mean, not the craziest thing I've ever heard.
No, but like, what is the team? So it's we're worried about Mobley not having enough runway to develop offensively. So let's throw LeBron and Donovan Mitchell and James Harden together, and that'll give Mobley a chance to.
Well, then we don't care if Evan Mobley is going to score 8 points a game. We don't need him to score any more than 8 points a game.
That's also very fair. I don't have any other good Darius Garland. I don't think Portland would be into it. Portland would be a fun Kawhi team, though.
Yeah.
I think you brought them up for Kawhi. So I just have another quick question. Over under. Bennedict Mathurin, $17 million average annual value of his next contract. Are you going to take the over or the under?
I would, if he was an unrestricted free agent, I would take the over. I still lean over. I mean, I've been somewhat surprised by the salaries being thrown out so far. And mostly because I just don't know where this cap space is coming from. Like, who are you bidding against? And the answer is Detroit right now. But at some point, Detroit will make their move. And then, I guess the Nets and Bulls still have some money, and the Lakers hypothetically could, but also might not. But I think if you run the risk of, if you go much lower than that, you run the risk of the Quentin Grimes situation last year, where he just says, no, I'm taking the qualifying offer and I'll become an unrestricted free agent next year.
If they're that concerned about keeping flexibility open for 27, if you're not going to extend Kawhi, that might not be the worst outcome.
Yeah. I wouldn't shock me if they just don't extend him and then just say, we can revisit this. Yeah. I don't know.
I think he's on the Clippers next year. 17, I would probably still go over. If you nudge that up to like 19 or 20, because Kobe White got 3 in 74, and he's just better, right? Like, he's just better. I'll take under 20. I'll go under 20.
Yeah, I mean, Mathurin is a really good scorer, like not super...
Gets to the foul line for sure, yeah.
Yeah, but like not super well-rounded, mediocre three-point shooter, not a great playmaker, like kind of one-dimensional in that regard offensively. So I don't know what that archetype... Like, do you want Bennedict Mathurin as your starter? He was for Indy. He was not for the Clippers. I guess it really comes down to like, what role do the Clippers envision him playing? If they want to keep him, do they view him as a starter? Or do they view him as a bench player? You're not paying $20+ million for a bench player. You shouldn't be. But if you think he could be a long-term starter, 17, 18, 19, $20 million a year is like great value.
Yeah, which obviously short term, he could start and you could bring Wagler off the bench. But if it's Wagler, Garland, Mathurin as a 3 doesn't really do it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he'll be back with the Clippers. I'll take under 20 million. There's the only other thing I have on them is if they're keeping the band, if it's Kawhi, Wagler, Garland, they bring back, like if John Collins are free, they need a big man, is what I'm getting at. Is sort of their biggest need to me. The Zubats replacement. They have Isaiah Jackson. They have Niederhauser, who he was injured to close last year. I think they need like a higher end type of big. Could they be an interesting Porzingis team? If Orlando's looking to cut money, I didn't prepare you for this, so I'm going to start throwing names at you fast and furious. Okay. Wendell Carter Jr.
Yeah, sure.
Could they be an RW3 or Mitchell Robinson team in free agency?
Just with the non-tax MLE?
Yeah, I'm assuming they'll. Is that what? By the way, do you think that's what they end up doing? Is working as a over the cap team?
I would think so, just because they can't. How much can they create overall?
I think over 30, right? Just because of all those team options.
I don't know either way.
They could definitely get to 20. I mean, I guess I haven't updated my thing since the Wagler salaries in there. So let's say I think they could definitely get to over 25 if they really, or over 20 if they wanted to. So if you renounce everybody, so you get rid of renounce John Collins, decline the team option on Bogdan Bogdanovic, decline Brook Lopez's team option, renounce Mathurin. Yeah, you're probably, I mean, if you wanted to get rid of, so there's the Bradley Beal element. You probably don't want, if you got rid of Chris Dunn, you could creep up on 30. But that's your roster's empty. Otherwise, it's 20 something. So yeah, over the cap.
I think so.
To me, would make the most sense.
Yeah, maybe they decline the option on Bogdanovic still just to give themselves more breathing room under the first apron if they need it. But yeah, I think over the cap would be my guess there.
So Mitchell Robinson or RW3 is a placeholder. They might be one of those guys that are willing to, if we assume the Clippers want flexibility next season, could you do the 1-1 at just a super inflated salary for one of those guys? Sort of like what the Warriors did with Jonathan Kuminga this past year.
I mean, if Mark Williams just got 3 for 38, like that to me sets kind of the expectation for Robert Williams. I don't think he can ask for significantly more than that. They're kind of the same, just, nice, good upside if they stay healthy, but the injury concerns are just so rampant that, I think if he's willing to settle for, ideally you get him for like less than the full non-tax MLE and you can split it between two guys.
What's interesting is I think Robert Williams III is infinitely better than Mark Williams.
Sure. I mean, I'm just saying from an archetype of oft-injured big who you aren't going to play a ton of minutes. You can't necessarily count on him as, a 35-minute game guy. Like you're going to keep him in the 20s most likely. Still could start for you, but you just have to be very careful with him.
Do you think so? If Mark Williams got 3 for 38, right? That's the reporting. Does that set the market for Mitch Robinson too, or do you view him as more valuable?
Probably. I just come back to who's got money to spend, and yes, Detroit is doing something behind the scenes clearly, but if they're keeping Jalen Duren, they do not need to spend $15 million on Mitchell Robinson as well. They've got Paul Reed, who played very well for them in the playoffs. I think they're content with that. Chicago just got Nick Claxton. Why are you spending more?
Right. And also, not only they got Nick Claxton, but for quote unquote free.
Right. Right. And why, you could have had $40+ million in cap space. Why are we spending it all on centers who are not going to be part of your long-term future? So
I actually liked that trade for Chicago, but
I do. Yeah. I mean, but I'm saying if they add Mitch Robinson too, then they're they've spent
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Flexibility on 2 centers who are not going to fit long-term with them. And then Brooklyn, I guess if you just want to stick it to the Knicks, you're just mad that Knicks fever is taking over.
You want to reunite Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle so that your offense could be in the 40th percentile. I vibe it.
Go. Yeah.
Wiseau says the Clippers could have Jakob Poeltl for free.
That is a fair point. I'm sure the Raptors would happily. Yeah. I mean, that's part of the Kawhi deal, right?
Oh, man. I'm assuming the Clippers are that's a Ingram situation and small salary situation, right?
Sure.
I hope he goes to, if they trade him, I want it to be Toronto so bad.
It would be fun. I mean, San Antonio would be fun for a different reason, but Yeah, like the nostalgia.
San Antonio would be poetic.
Yeah, and just him and Wemby, it's like two basketball terminators.
So Mitchell Robinson, Kristaps Porzingis, Rob Williams III. They have Brooke Lopez if they want to pick up the team option. I don't really like Vooch or Mo Wagner for them. Just doesn't Andre Drummond, Zach Collins. I wonder if there's anyone is there someone fun that this team could? Oh, here's another, because I have listed as just one of the things they need, maybe younger wings or just another higher end with just with Kawhi aging out. Could they do the reverse? We're talking about trading Kawhi. Could you do the reverse and trade for Jaylen Brown and pair him with Kawhi?
What are you sending out?
Well, we established the pick situation.
Sure.
And you just build it around Garland as the primary money because he's in the 40s.
And Garland's going to Boston?
Yeah, they could use him, no?
Yeah, I mean, they could.
Garland and Derek Jones, I think, get you just about there.
Yeah, financially it would. Yeah, I mean, if you're attaching 4 picks that aren't going to get revoked by the NBA, but that leaves you with 2 stud wings and nothing else.
Yeah. Fair. And Wagler. There you go.
And Wagler, yeah. Okay.
Although would Boston insist on getting him for Brown? Yeah, that's
probably. Yes.
And you just can't. They have their third highest paid. Well, if you opted in, but Boston's not. That's not a team Boston's not doing that. You'd be looking at a team that's selling, and you could opt in these guys to their team options and get creative that way.
But yeah, Boston, if they're trading Jaylen Brown, they want something very good in return.
You could. I think it would probably be super tight. But what about Sabonis? You're not giving up Garland or Kawhi, and you're getting Sabonis.
I just don't know what that does for you.
His contract runs the same as Darius Garland's, right? Or does he have another year on it? If he has another year on it, then never mind.
He has 3 more years?
He's a free agent, in 2028.
Oh, okay. So yeah, him and Garland are okay.
Yeah, they align. Excuse me, misspoke.
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be Bogdanovich, Derek Jones, Brooke Lopez. It's tough for them to get up to that money unless, if it's a sign and trade with Collins or with
Mathurin.
Yeah.
Give Kings all problematic players. Not a lot of defense, but Mamu is going to be a free agent. He'd be interesting.
Sure. Yeah. Jock Landale just as a cheap flyer. Because I don't think they can really make a run. Walker Kessler to me feels like he's going to potentially fly under the radar. I know Utah threw 140 at him and he said no. And
I think he might get less now. Probably.
That's what I'm wondering. But I would happily pay him that amount of money. I think he's going to be very, very good. And he just, no one watched Utah for the last couple of years, but he's 7'2", great shot blocker, great rebounder, and can actually shoot the 3 like that. He is the archetype that every team wants. So I don't know how the Clippers get there.
Actually, shoot the 3 seems like it's doing a little bit too much lifting there. I'm just...
he was 6 of 8 this year.
Not tanking.
He was 6 of 8 this year.
Can he do it on a team that's not tanking and for more than 8 attempts? Is how it was.
Yeah, 8 attempts this year. Shot 75% from 3, Dan.
Milwaukee has Miles Turner. That contract goes out longer though, so they might not want that.
Right. Yeah, that's 3 years.
It'd be really funny if they went the cap space route and then OKC just dumped Isaiah Hartenstein with the team option and they sent a pick or something along those lines.
That'd be incredible.
Yves Missy's cheap. I don't know what New Orleans wants for him.
Sure.
We're bottom of the barrel here, but Jay Huff or Micah Potter, now that Indy has Zubats, one of them might be available.
Yep.
I really don't mind the Kristaps play for them. I know we already mentioned him.
Yeah. He's... I guess if you're already dealing with Kawhi's availability concerns, you also want to be dealing with Kristaps.
That's fair.
But for the price that all just depends on the price you're paying for him.
What would it cost to get one? I don't think it costs a lot to get Daniel Gafford, so that wouldn't be a concern. But you could look at him. What about a Derek Lively flyer?
Yeah.
What's that cost?
I have no idea.
Same.
I mean, probably not. Especially like if teams are really valuing these 27, 28, 29 picks more. I guess 28's gone already. They swap. They already have swaps in those years. Clippers. Well, the Clippers, they still have like one of the three, but they can't trade it because they. Yeah, I was gonna like if they had access to any of those picks, then maybe that alone might be enough for a live.
What do you mean access to
trading any of those? But
they could trade picks though.
Just down the road. I was thinking like the ones in this 3-year window.
They can't trade. Like you wouldn't do least favorable because they'd swap with OKC next year. Like that's not enough to get in the door for Derek Lively with his injury history.
Probably not, because that swap is going to be 29 or 30 most likely.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's not something I could. Yeah, good call. Good call. And the 29 swaps with Philly though, that might be a little bit more interesting.
Yeah. I mean that one. So it'd be worst of Philly or Clippers, and then Dallas would have the right to swap with them.
Well, does Dallas? Well, can you even trade swap? Which years is Dallas without picks? Because they don't control their own pick again until 2031.
That's a fair point.
Dallas
owes 29.
Yeah, the Lakers. Yep. So that's not happening. All right, never mind.
27 to Charlotte. So yeah, all right. So yeah, it might have to be a 2033 or whatever. Or they could do 2031.
That would lead me to believe they think that the investigation is not going to play out in their favor, and they're just burning first round picks to the ground as best they can.
I mean, honestly, not the craziest strategy.
Well, but also, is there anything in the rule that says that the NBA can't, we're just operating 7 years into the future? Can't the NBA just say, well, fuck you, 2034, 2035, like you don't have first round picks?
Probably. I would imagine that's exactly how it would go.
Anything else on this team? Would you like to wrap up with a prediction of did we already say? I think Kawhi and Garland are both staying with the Clippers, or I would at least frame it as I think Jaylen Brown's more likely to get traded than Kawhi Leonard.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I think this is like what teams are registering interest, and if the Clippers decide to pivot, there will be a fairly robust market for Kawhi. But yes, I don't think they feel a burning desire to move him unless contract talks go south in the next few days or weeks or whatever the case may be.
This was great. Thank you for almost 2 hours. I didn't realize we were going that long. Thank you so much for all your time. As always, Mr. Toporek, you're able just to tell our listeners they can find you and all the fantastic work that you do.
For sure. You can find me Blue Sky at BTOPOREK. Forbes and Fansided for general NBA coverage, Liberty Ballers for Sixers, Silver Screen and Roll for Lakers. I've been just churning out stuff this week, and I have a very poorly timed vacation coming up on Sunday, but something tells me I will still be writing at night through the vacation. So I'm sure plenty coming out next week as this madness continues to take over our lives. But thank you as always for having me, Dan. Always fun, and keep sending these overvalued LaMelo trade proposals in my DMs, please.
Happy vacation. Happy upcoming anniversary. I hope you were able to get a break, somewhat of a break amid the tumult that is to come. And thanks as always for your time. Until next time, I leave everybody with the shout out to the one, the only, the indelible, you know what? Worth way more than he was traded for. LaMelo Ball.